At sunset on January 24, 2026, a winter storm of historic scale is tightening its grip. Over 180 million people now face blinding snow, catastrophic ice, and piercing wind chills from Texas to New York. 18 states have declared emergencies, power grids, and highways stand at the brink, and the next 72 hours could unleash even worse. How did a typical January become a national crisis, and who will be hit hardest next? By Friday night, the storm's leading edge pushes out of New Mexico and barrels into the Central Plains. Snow begins to blanket the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma City, while icy rain sweeps into Dallas and Little Rock. As midnight approaches, the storm front stretches hundreds of miles, with winter weather advisories expanding rapidly eastward. Saturday brings the most dangerous phase for the South and Midwest. By sunrise, heavy snow and a wintry mix grip Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Memphis and Nashville brace for freezing rain, with the threat of ice building hour by hour. Major highways like Interstate 40 and Interstate 24 become increasingly treacherous, and emergency crews are already responding to early spinouts and power line damage. Farther north, St. Louis and Indianapolis see snow rates intensify by late morning. By afternoon, the Ohio Valley is locked in steady snow, while sleet and freezing rain cut across the lower Mississippi and Tennessee valleys. Saturday evening, the storm's core stretches from New Mexico clear to the Carolinas. The snow shield surges east, overtaking Cincinnati and Charleston, while the Carolinas and northern Georgia face a dangerous glaze of ice. Overnight, the wintry mix marches toward the Appalachians and the mid-Atlantic. Early Sunday, snow overtakes Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. By Sunday afternoon, the northeast corridor transitions to all snow, with accumulations climbing quickly from Pennsylvania through interior New England. The storm lingers into Monday, with the last snow band sweeping through Maine and Vermont, leaving behind a corridor of disruption from the southern plains to the Atlantic coast. This is the latest, as of the evening of January 24th, 2026. Across the storm's vast footprint, some areas are bracing for snow totals that could define this event for years to come. Meteorologists are tracking a corridor of the heaviest snowfall stretching from the Texas Panhandle northeastward, where Oklahoma and Arkansas face the first waves of deep accumulation. Forecast models indicate that while most communities in this zone will see 6 to 12 inches, isolated pockets in higher elevations and along stalled frontal boundaries could receive more than a foot. In Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and into the Appalachian spine of West Virginia, the snow intensifies as moisture rides up and over colder air locked near the surface. Local projections point to the possibility of 12 inches or more, especially in areas where bands of heavy snow persist for several hours. The threat does not end in the central states. As the storm presses into Pennsylvania and upstate New York, lake effect enhancement and deepening cold will drive totals even higher. Interior regions of Pennsylvania and New York are forecast to see widespread 8 to 12 inch amounts, with some favored snowbelt communities possibly pushing above that mark. While current National Weather Service guidance does not confirm maximum totals of 25 inches, the combination of persistent snow bands and terrain effects means some towns could see drifts and compacted layers that approach historic levels. These high-impact zones are not uniform. Sharp gradients exist, and one town may dig out from a foot of snow, while another, just a few miles away, faces little more than slush. The most intense snow swath sets up the next hazard. As snow gives way to warmer air, a dangerous layer of ice threatens to coat roads and power lines, especially in transition zones from Arkansas to Kentucky. The focus now shifts to where that ice will hit hardest. Ice storm warnings now blanket a wide swath of Middle Tennessee, with the National Weather Service issuing advisories for Davidson, Montgomery, Cheatham, Dixon, and Robertson counties. Emergency managers are urging residents to pay close attention to the evolving timeline. The critical changeover from snow to sleet and freezing rain is expected between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. for the Nashville and Clarksville areas. As temperatures hover near freezing at the surface, but rise just above freezing a few thousand feet up, precipitation will shift from snow to a dangerous mix. By 10 p.m., the risk intensifies. Freezing rain is forecast to become dominant, especially west of Interstate 65 and along the Interstate 40 corridor. The period between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. is now flagged as the peak window for ice accumulation, with forecasters warning of a half-inch or more of glaze possible on exposed surfaces. Cheatham and Dixon counties face the highest threat, with ice rates spiking late evening and models suggesting more than a half-inch of accretion. In Nashville, sleet may briefly delay the full transition, but freezing rain is likely to coat roads and power lines before midnight. Clarksville will see heavy snow hold on a bit longer, but by midnight freezing rain will reach the city, and travel will become extremely hazardous. The Cumberland Plateau, including Fentress and Cumberland counties, will hold on to snow and sleet longer, with the transition to freezing rain delayed until after midnight. County officials stress that residents should avoid travel during these windows. Power crews are on standby, but the risk of outages will climb sharply after 11 p.m. as ice loads increase on trees and utility lines. The next several hours will be critical for personal safety and infrastructure resilience across the region. Interstate 40 and Interstate 24, the main arteries through Middle Tennessee, are now at the heart of the region's winter crisis. The Tennessee Department of Transportation has issued blunt warnings. Bridges and overpasses are icing first, creating hidden hazards even where pavement looks clear. By late evening, the risk is highest on elevated spans from downtown Nashville to the river valleys west of the city, where colder air pools just above the surface. Tennessee Department of Transportation crews are out in force, spreading salt and sand, but the rate of freezing rain is outpacing treatment in many spots. Traffic cameras report jackknifed semis and abandoned vehicles, especially near steep grades and interchanges. Emergency responders are stretched thin, with towing operations slowed by the same treacherous conditions that stranded drivers in the first place. The threat extends beyond the roads. Utility companies across the region are bracing for widespread outages as ice begins to accumulate on power lines and tree limbs. Nashville Electric Service crews are working extended shifts, but the growing weight of ice, already measuring over half an inch in some western suburbs, threatens to snap lines and bring down transformers. Urban neighborhoods may see brief flickers, but the greatest risk is west and north of the city, where rural feeders stretch for miles and tree cover is dense. On the Cumberland Plateau, cold air is holding strong, so snow remains the main concern for now, but forecasters warn that a late-night shift to freezing rain could quickly change the picture. Transportation officials and utility spokespeople are united in their message. Stay off the roads if at all possible, and prepare now for the possibility of extended power loss. Charge phones and backup batteries, stock up on water and non-perishable food, and avoid using unsafe heating sources indoors. The next several hours will test the resilience of both the region's infrastructure and its residents. Air travel across the nation is grinding to a halt as the storm deepens. Over 8,300 flights have been canceled through the weekend, according to airline trackers, leaving airports from Dallas to New York in gridlock. Passengers are crowding terminals, facing waits that last for hours and last-minute rebookings, while major carriers issue blanket waivers for change fees and warn of extended disruptions. On the ground, the Department of Transportation has issued a stark warning. Travel on many interstate highways is now considered a catastrophic risk. Ice and heavy snow have rendered sections of Interstate 40, Interstate 24, and dozens of secondary highways impassable, with tow trucks and emergency vehicles struggling to reach stranded motorists. Transportation spokespersons say the situation is fluid and dangerous, and there are no guarantees conditions will improve before the storm moves on. For anyone considering travel, the message is clear. Plans are no match for this storm's reach. Inside a Clarksville living room, a family gathers flashlights and fills water jugs as the wind rattles the windows. The message from officials is clear. Stay indoors and avoid travel until conditions improve. With 18 states under emergency declarations and more than 180 million people affected, preparation is vital. Charge phones and backup batteries while power is steady. Stock up on non-perishable food and water. If the heat goes out, use only approved heaters and never run a generator indoors. Carbon monoxide can be deadly. For those needing shelter, text the word SHELTER and your zip code to 43362 for the nearest open location. Across the country, 28 federal urban search and rescue teams remain on standby, ready to respond if local resources are overwhelmed. These simple steps can make all the difference as the storm continues its relentless push eastward. Tonight, over 180 million Americans face more than just a winter storm. They confront the limits of infrastructure, planning, and resilience. As the ice thickens and temperatures plunge, survival depends on community and preparation. Extreme weather is no longer rare. It's the new normal. Stay safe and take care of each other.